Well, it is definitely a new era here at the TFTG. With all the craziness going on in Miami, there's a fallback plan. There's always a new fallback plan. There's something fresh, new idea, new passion. A new stable here, and that is called 4th and 10 U. Good afternoon. It's a new day here at the Fin's Tailgate. This is 4th and 10 U, and I got my buddy Mike. What is up, Mike? How you doing? Good stuff?
What's up, dude? Gotta give you major props, man. That intro's just shizness. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Thanks. It's a work in progress. But hey, everyone, if you're brand new to the show, this is a college football show. Me and Mike are going to talk about everything going on in college football. We're going to be talking about teams, players, matchups. We'll talk about it all, right? If there's something about college football that you want to know or you want us to talk about, make sure you put it in the comments, right? Put it in the comments. Let us know. And not just the chat if you're watching this when it's aired live, but also in the comments below so we can go back and see it, right? But if you're brand new, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button while you're at it, turn on the notification bell, right? This is 4th and 10 U. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about the Ohio State versus Texas game. That was a hell of a game. We'll talk about it. I know what your thoughts are already, but we'll definitely talk about it. We'll talk about the upcoming Natty game, Notre Dame versus Ohio State. Can't wait to talk about that. And we got some spicy stuff to talk about college football as well. But before we get into all of that, and before we get into it, Mike, I want to do some things first. Like I said, make sure you hit the like button, turn on the notification bell, subscribe, the whole 10 yards, right? Do that for me first. But I wanted to give out a special shout out, right? I'm going to throw Mike. I want to say thank you to the troops, right? Thank you for everything that they do, right? All the men and women of the armed forces, thank you so much. Not a lot of people know this. I'm a veteran. Was in the Air Force for a hot minute. I believe, Mike, you were in the service too, weren't you?
Yes, sir. Air Force as well, bro.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you for everything you do. We are going to do probably every episode. I'm going to try to put out a cause. Today's cause that I want to shout out to is actually the children of the fallen patriots, right? If you go to fallenpatriots.org, if you want more information about who they are, but their mission is to provide college scholarships and educational counseling to military children who have lost a parent in the line of duty. They're dedicated to serving the families of service members from all branches of the armed forces who have died as a result of a combat casualty, military training accidents, and service related illnesses, including suicide as well as other duty related deaths as ruled by the Department of Veteran Affairs. The vision of Children of Fallen Patriots Foundation is to ensure that every child of a fallen patriot receives all necessary college funding. They believe a college education is the single most important gift we can give these children. They believe this is an important investment in, in future of America, and they believe this is one of the best ways we can honor those who have died defending our country. So if you want more information, again, you can go to fallenpatriots.org. There you can donate, find out about upcoming events, how to get involved, scholarships, resource center, and etc. So definitely just want to shout out to them. So again, thank you to our troops. So Mike, what's on your mind? How have you been, man? How's everything?
Man, going good, dude. Sad to see the season end for my team so soon, but we'll get to it in a little bit. But it's a good week. Hope everything's going well with you. On a somber note, I got a buddy of mine. We Speaking of fallen troops, one of his daughter found out during the game that his daughter had passed away, and so just give a shout out to Chad. I'm gonna send him a link so he can watch the show when we release it. Just keep him in your prayers and keep his family in your prayers. Her name was Alex. She was 20 years old. Amazing kid, super nice kid, great dude. So my heart's with him. But yeah, man, that game. I got so much to say about it, but we'll get to it in a minute. But other than that, man, life's good.
Yeah, it's really good to hear. I'm really sorry about your friend and his loss and everything, and I I can't imagine what he might be going through or what he was thinking at that time when he was told what happened. But my prayers and everything and my condolences to him and his family for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
hug your children, man. You got some kids, hug them for sure.
yeah, I know. I hug mine every day, and I definitely recommend if you have your kids, definitely hug them while you can. Um, that being said, yeah, it's already been crazy off the get go. Already the national title game is what, in 5 days, 6 days, something like that.
Yeah, 20th.
It's we already got massive news all over the place. Who's staying? Who's declaring? Who transfers? Teams that are getting transfers that I didn't expect. Like, who would have thought one of the best transfers out there that was going that was from Georgia, who they crystal balled this guy to go to Ohio State or another team of that caliber. He ends up going to Missouri. I didn't expect that. You know what I'm saying? There's all these rumors. Yeah. I know I've been blowing up your phone with stuff about Texas and players all over the place. Yeah,
let's talk about mass exodus in Texas, bro. I think we got Cam Williams, Kelvin Banks, Matthew Golden's gone. Like, they're just dropping like fly. Jaden Blue, they all declared for the draft, man. It's been pretty impressive.
Yeah, 100%. It was really crazy. I think, like, when I was looking at it, I was like, man, they're losing almost their whole team. All the starters are like leaving, jumping ship. But what was even crazier, even some 2-year people that still had 2 years left on eligibility are jumping too. That kind of threw me off.
Yeah,
because I thought maybe they would stay because now they're the next best thing and whatnot. And it just kind of threw me for a little bit. I was very surprised. I wasn't disappointed. I know you're disappointed in what happened at Texas, but
yeah.
I wasn't, in the sense I would be proud that they got that far, lost to Georgia twice, and they still got a chance to make it. That's the kind of, impressive to me. But before we get into that, before we talk about the Texas game, all right, I want to bring up some stuff that I'm hearing. Lou Holtz, the former coach in Notre Dame. You know who I'm talking about? Yeah,
Yeah, he's a loony bin, bro.
he's kind of loony. Yeah, he's loony, right? Um, he decided to put his foot in his mouth or put some information out there that if Ohio State wins, it's only because Notre Dame wants to preserve Ryan Day's job. That's what he said verbatim. And I'm sitting here like, does someone like review what he's going to say before they put it out? Maybe they need
Obviously
to like
not.
review it, And I'm not saying this from a uh I'm not saying this from a fan of Ohio State. That's not where this is coming from, right? Let's
Yeah.
actually start before we get into that. Ryan Day and Lou Holtz had some beef. I want to say it was last year or the year before, right? And there was some. It was right before the Ohio State versus Notre Dame game, right? And Notre Dame was either ranked above us, and they also, I think, were winning the game. And Ohio State manned up, came from behind or whatever, and won that game. They won that game. I want to say, I think it was like by a point or something. It was something really low scoring, right? And it was surprised a lot of people. And Ryan Day came out and said something to the effect of like, what do you think now? Who's physical now or something like that, right? And it was because Lou Holtz said some stuff about Ohio State that didn't sit well with Ryan Day. Now you got Lou Holtz coming out of left field to make more comments. Ryan Day hasn't said anything. He's forgotten them. He hasn't thought about Lou Holtz for one bit. He hasn't thought about it, made comment to it. Nothing. Nothing's come out this season. And this guy comes out of nowhere. Look, your team very likely is probably going to lose. Even if it wasn't Ohio State, let's say it's Texas, your team is probably going to lose. The fact is that Notre Dame has too many injuries. That's the problem. Go ahead. Go ahead. I think we're losing you, Mike.
Oh, shoot. Hang on. Hold, please.
No worries. No worries. Let me know when you come back. But no, that's my opinion. You know what I mean? I think I feel like that Ryan Day hasn't thought about it one bit, and he's been focused too much on the season and on the playoffs to worry about what Lou Holtz has said. And that's kind of why I think that
technical difficulties, but I think I'm back.
Yeah. So what do you think, man? What do you think about what's going on with this?
Well, my question to you is, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't Ryan Day he owns everybody in the Big Ten other than Michigan, and I'm pretty sure he's only lost 10 games in like 9 seasons or whatever it is. Like it's an absurd amount. And so like for Lou Holtz to say that, like, preserve a guy's job that literally owns everybody outside of Michigan. So he's just loony, dude. Lou Holtz is one of the wackiest guys in sports. I'll say that. Other than Lee Corso, because I don't know how he's still on TV. God rest your soul, man. Lee Corso, you're the man, dude. But yeah, it's just some of these older guys. They should just keep their mouth shut, and especially Lou Holtz. I don't think he said anything smart in about 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I respected Lou Holtz for a long time, right? But at some point in your older age, respectfully, I think some things that you just really shouldn't touch. That's where I'm at with it. But hey, what do I know? I'm just one of those fringe, crazy Ohio State fans, as everybody says. I was looking, there's a poll being done on who has the most lunatic fans, and it's Ohio State is ranked number 1. And
Yeah.
I believe it though, and I expect it. I've mentioned this before, and I've talked about this elsewhere. When you're a Buckeye fan, right? Or when you're in Ohio, and actually that's another segue. Um, Urban Meyer talked about this on the Triple Threat. I don't know if you watched that podcast, the Triple Threat podcast with Rob Stone. They usually have Rob Stone, Urban Meyer, and another former player that's a host as well. He said that when you are from Ohio, right? In Ohio, football is not a pastime. It's not something that you just do for fun. Football is a way of life in Ohio, right? They breathe, think, sleep, eat football 24/7, right?
Yeah.
And when you're born, when you're a brand new baby, newborn, you're at the hospital and they have you in the I don't know what they call it, like a crib or whatever. In Columbus, they wrap you in this thing that says "Beat that team up north," right? In Akron, I forget what it is. They have like a little football or something that they give you, right, as a baby. You know that you're in the crib, right? These are things that they do in places that's all they think about, right? The only other place I can state wise that I can think that football is this passionate, and I'm not trying to discredit any other state. I'm not trying to discredit South Florida where I live or anywhere like that, right? I know they're very passionate, but there's a different level of passion that Ohio has and also Texas has, right?
Yeah.
It is in my town, even though it's high school football, Friday nights, they shut the town down. Everybody boards their windows, puts the close sign on, and the entire town is at the football game, right? They have, you know how you watch 11 o'clock news, right? Friday nights in Toledo, they have, I think it starts at 10, right? A whole hour of nothing but high school football news, showing replays, everything. High school football, as if it's like game day, like it's college game day or something, but it's high school football, right?
Yeah.
So, do I expect us to have the lunatic, crazy fan base that expects the best no matter what and will talk all the bleep you think? Yes, 100%. I don't question it. And I think it's fair that our fan base holds Ryan Day to a certain standard, right? Hold him over the fire, because if that's how they live, then I expect it. And personally, I am a fan, so I would be doing the same thing. I'm one of those people, right? Just like what Urban Meyer said in his podcast recently on the Triple Threat. It's not, I don't know if it's his, but the collective that they have there. I agree with them 100%. I am one of those people. I'm one of those people that love that team and expect, I expect us to have the best players. I expect us to win, beat the team up north, and compete for a national championship every year. No questions asked. Doesn't matter. There's no such thing as a transition year, right? There's no such thing as, oh, we're starting a rebuild. No such thing, right? That's what I expect. So for him to say something like this, you're opening up a can of worms for that fan base to now start attacking you. And I don't think it's good for Lou Holtz's health, his mental stability, or where he wants to be right now. You know what I mean? Maybe he's a passionate fan on that end, and okay, fine. That's I know not only was he a coach, he's a fan. I get it. But you don't want the smoke that the Ohio State fans will pour onto you. I've seen that, right? I've seen it that what Michigan fans do. I'll give them credit too, because they have a very big fan base as well. I've seen what they do, and I don't think Lou Holtz wants that. So that's my final thoughts on that. Anything else you think about that you want to speak about?
No, I mean, I agree with everything you said. Ohio, I mean, I was stationed up in Ohio actually, so like I can attest to the football culture. Then down here in Texas, we groom them from as soon as they're 5 years old, 6 years old, and they get on the football field, they're running the offense that their high school in that area runs. So it's 100%. It's two of the best states when it comes to football, the Midwest and Texas really, and then you've got the other states like you mentioned, Florida, Georgia, but there's just nothing like Ohio. They Man, you can't say nothing. You can't say nothing against Ohio State either because they will just come at you from every avenue that is possible. Come out of every crack in the wall. Come out from underneath the bar stool. Like they will come
Mm,
get you. So I've been personal witness to it.
yeah, well, they'll come at you, and that's just how it is. It's a way of life. So we talked about the mass exodus of Texas. They're losing players right out, left and right.
Yeah,
Isaiah Bond is gone. DJ Campbell is staying, surprisingly.
yeah,
Um, I
yeah.
think both of your running backs are gone too. Both of them are gone. Blue and is Wisner leaving or no?
I haven't heard anything about Wisner yet.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
I I'm just happy the main guy that he either needed to transfer or move on was Quinn Ewers, and I think he probably should have transferred, but I was kind of banking on him going to Ohio State, so he had to deal with it like I had to deal with it. But we'll get into a couple more weeks. We'll get into our scouting and draft breakdown, and I'm not going to hold anything back on Mr. Quinn. Got some
Yeah.
things that need to be said. You know, now that he's not a Longhorn, I don't feel as bad saying some of the stuff, but it's not that I wouldn't say it. If anybody asked me, I'd give my honest opinion anyways. But yeah, I'm really glad. I'm really excited about the draft preview. That's gonna be a fun show. But yeah, the mass exodus in Texas is, um, I mean, it's crazy. But they did it last year, and it wasn't. And, last year, Jonathan Brooks, Shatavian Sanders, both of our D linemen, and we lost cornerbacks, and we lost so many wide receivers. We lost Xavier Worthy. Like they just went like candy last year, and then we just restocked and came back. And I'm really excited for the young guys. DJ Campbell, he's going to be probably our veteran at this point. He'll be the guy that everybody looks to on the offensive line for the experience. Then you got the Ryan Wingo. I had mentioned him in our preview show. I think he's going to take off next year. I think he's going to be really fun to watch. I think Silas Bolden will be back. Crazy wicked speed for him. And then
Mhm.
we got a guy in CJ Baxter is going to help the running back room. So I kind of expect it nowadays. Man, I tell you what though, I still remember the days before Vince Young declared for the draft early. Texas didn't lose anybody. Everybody stayed there 4 years. Everybody graduated, and then they went to the pros. And ever since Vince Young left, I mean, it was Vince Young, and then it was Jamal Charles, and it was Derek Johnson. Like everybody just started. Michael Huff. I can go down the list. Earl Thomas. They all just left early, and
Mhm.
um, but anyways, I expect it now, and Sark's done a really, really good job of creating a really, really deep system. The pipeline's it's loaded with talent, so just retool and next man up, just like they do in the pros.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, let's go ahead and get into this Texas review. To be honest, these teams. Before I get on the Ohio State side, and I will break down exactly what transpired in the game, and we'll get into details about it. I just want to say again, Ohio State and Texas,
Hey,
both
we're
of
gonna have
these
to work on my
teams.
Wi-Fi because you're gone.
What? What about my Wi-Fi? I think I lost you again, Mike. Mm-mm. But both of these teams, right? Both of these teams are so similar. It's not even funny. Um, and it's not just the players; it's the amount of stats in production that they put out, how they're built. There's so many different similarities. It's very, very crazy. Mike hopefully will be back. But let's talk about what happened in the game. So, and let me bring this up here. And he is back.
Boy, that kicked me all the way out. I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They probably don't want you talking about Texas game. That's probably what it
Dude,
is.
I guess, like Jesus. I was watching, all of a sudden, just everything disappeared. It made me kick out of the screen and everything. So whatever. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it's cool though. I don't know what the last thing you heard, but just I'm not worried about it. Texas is ready to retool.
Yeah, no problem. I definitely understand you're not worried about the retool. I'm for me, I was just saying that Ohio State is very, very similar to Texas. the way that the team is built, the philosophy, everything up and down it's almost like one for one. Even the amount of players that I'm about to lose this season is almost one for one, which is very, very surprising. And I'm just trying to find 1 second, Mike, if you can just bear with me one moment.
Oh, dude, you're good, bro. I'm just glad to be back. I disappeared and I was gone, long gone. I was like, oh, it's all gone, but I'm back. This whole
Definitely.
broadcasting outside thing, this is a off schedule recording, but we're doing, had to recap that crazy game and look forward to the national championship. So,
Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely I definitely understand. Yeah, so next week when we're at our normal recording time, I think we'll be okay because I think the internet will be much better once you're inside.
yeah,
One moment here. Here it is.
what you looking for, bro?
I had something I had typed out to preview the game and or review
All you
the
gotta do is
game.
look at your hat.
Yeah, but I'm talking about what actually transpired in the Texas game, actually. So I had some information and I wanted to go over it because it had a
Oh,
a
you're talking
really
about the scoring
easy
drives and all that
breakdown.
stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But now I
Man, I'm gonna
can't.
tell
I
you. I'm just
lost
show you
it
really
right
quick.
quick.
I'm just gonna recap.
Good.
You're good. I'm gonna recap the end of that game for me, from my perspective. I've been saying all year that we needed to use Arch more, and I'm not a Manning, fanatic or anything like that. But I noticed talent, and there were certain things he could do, throwing the ball downfield, a little better arm strength, and the ability to run. I mean, Quinn Ewers was a statue. He had that one run I thought woke him up. I even told you in text message, I was like, man, maybe that woke him up. Maybe he's gonna play better. But man, when we got down to 1st and goal on the 1 yard line, I was shocked, dude. I was absolutely stunned that we did not see Arch Manning in that on that possession, because all you have to do is roll him out a little bit, give him the option. He's big enough to run somebody over if he gets to the edge. But just the added dynamic of having a mobile quarterback. I was
Mhm.
literally dumbfounded that we didn't bring him in for that goal line opportunity, and then that toss left play. Some of the worst play call I'd seen in a long time, all season, honestly. But that you live and die. I like loyal coaches, and he was loyal to Ewers, and he gave Ewers every opportunity. And it was fitting that his former roommate, strip sacked him and sealed the game for Ohio State. So no hard feelings. It was a good game.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely a great game. It started off with a bang, right? I told everybody it was going to be a slugfest, no matter what, right? I said that both of these defenses are going to show up. The question is, will the offenses show up? And to be honest, in some ways, they definitely did show up. Right off the get go, Ohio State, as they've done all playoffs so far, started off, you know, running down the field, on schedule, fast start, gets up and down the field. I think it was like 7 or 10 plays, and they get a Keyshawn Junkins touchdown. No problem, right? That was the
So
beginning of the game. Good.
so I will say this though about that first drive. That was the hardest they had. That was the toughest opening drive they had had. And I had told you, I was superbly impressed with Texas's defense on that drive, because I fully expected Ohio State to score, but I didn't expect the resistance right off the bat. Like, I thought it was just going to be a quick, 3-4 plays down the field, Jeremiah Smith, Judkins, all that. I thought it was going to be real quick, and they had to work for it, man. So I was really impressed with that first drive from a defensive perspective, because I did expect Ohio State to score. I just I definitely thought they were going to do it a heck of a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely. I think that drive actually set the tone for this game, to be honest, because I knew it was going to be a tough battle, but the key was getting that first touchdown. Ohio State plays better, obviously, when they have the lead at first. If they get scored on early, I knew it was going to be like a whirlwind of a game, to be honest, right? But that didn't happen,
Yeah.
right? Then you guys, I thought we had the momentum after that. We got the ball back after a 3-and-out from you guys, and we're driving down the field. Then come the flags, and this, you can go back and look at your phone and this, I'm sitting there like the doom and gloom is coming, right? Flag, 4th and 20 or 1st and 20. Oh, another flag. Oh, now it's 1st and 30 and so on. It was one after another, kept shooting ourselves in the foot, right? That just kept happening over and over again. And then eventually we gave you guys a touchdown, right? In my opinion, I want to say it was off of a turnover. You guys ended up capitalizing and scoring a touchdown. Great, right?
Yeah.
You get the touchdown. It's tied 7-7. Pursuing drive. And I want to say there's like 30 seconds on the clock left or something like that.
Yeah.
Pursuing drive
Yeah.
in Trevion Henderson fashion. And I say that with all endearment because this is what he is known for. He is known. His first touchdown and actually first play in college football was almost the exact same thing what you just witnessed, right? You guys bring the pressure. Your front four is coming. You have Will Howard completely surrounded. He looks over. No, everybody left Trevion Henderson. He just dumps it to Trevion Henderson, and Trevion Henderson takes it to the house. It was like 75 yards, right? 75
like,
yard
I don't
pass.
need blockers. I got this.
Yeah, he didn't even need the blockers. He was gone.
Yeah.
So if you know his history from his rookie season, he did the exact same thing in his very first play that he got thrown to, took it to the house. I want to say it was against Minnesota or some team like Minnesota, maybe Purdue or somebody like that, right? So that I was like, oh wow, we're gonna take this. It's gonna be what, 14-7 at halftime. And I was like, wow. And I had already I already could see myself losing my bet. I took the over. I thought there was going to be over 44 points, right? I took the over, and boy, was I wrong. And that sucked. But essentially, what ended up happening next, we got the ball back, right? Because we kicked off, pursuing drive. What does Will Howard do? In all Will Howard fashion in the quarterbacks that we've had for the past 2 seasons, he throws an interception, right?
And it wasn't even close.
Wasn't even close. Like he was like playing catch with Texas corners. That's what he was doing, right? I wouldn't even.
It was our linebacker too. Our linebacker just jumped up, and it was like he didn't even see him. I was shocked, honestly.
Yep. He throws the interception. You guys get a touchdown. Then a bunch more shooting myself in the foot, right, happened. And then a bunch more mistakes, in my opinion, that was caused by Quinn Ewers, right, happened, giving us a ball back. And we decide, you know what, we're actually going to play this time. We start driving the ball. I'm like, oh, that's great. Then I'm starting to see where it's 4th down. We got to go. And no, I'm sorry, it's 3rd down. We just had a flat penalty flag, and we needed somebody to make some type of play. Well, G. Scott, I told you that some names might pop up that were going to be heroes in this game, right? I mentioned that in our preview to the game. And I mentioned Carnell Tate, which Carnell Tate had like 7 receptions or 8 receptions, something ridiculous. And I said, watch, it'll be a guy like G. Scott that makes a play to actually to affect this game. G. Scott, right after getting a flag, gets the ball right in the middle, about 7 yards up, and he decides booking it to the sideline and bend around the curve and get close enough within 2 yards. He stopped 2 yards short, and he gets it close enough that Ohio State actually thinks about, do we kick the field goal or do we actually go for it, right? Or do we punt? I forget where we were at that time. But they line up to the line. They're going to go for it. And I want to say Texas calls the timeout. Or maybe Ohio State called the timeout. I can't remember. But long story short of the whole thing, boy, I was so nervous. I was like, if this isn't made, this is the game. You guys are going to run away. You guys have the momentum. We're killing ourselves. Texas ain't beating Texas. Ohio State's beating Ohio State right now. Right?
Yeah.
And we'll come back to that. That's that phrase that I just said. We'll come back to it because I mentioned it in the review or preview. And I want to go back to it because that was so true in certain aspects of this game. What happens? You got Will Howard under center, hikes the ball,
He
and
just
you know what? He
takes
just books it.
off, bro.
He books, takes
Turf
off.
monster
It
got
was
him.
the running Will Howard that we knew from Kansas State. The reason that people call him a Josh Allen-esque type of player. And I know we throw that term around a lot because we're Dolphin fans, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
um he actually can run. If you watched him at Kansas State, this guy can run. That
Oh
was a
yeah,
big,
for
big
sure.
benefit for him. And he took off. And what does he do? The
Turf
hurt, the
monster, bro.
suffering doesn't stop there, Mike. It doesn't stop. He trips over his own feet after 20 yards. He had nobody in front of him. He could just ran the whole way, right? Trips over his own feet down, but we got the first down. The drive is still
Yeah,
alive, right? So we got
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Then what happens? I want to say it was like another Carnell Tate pass, and then Keyshawn Judkins gets another touchdown. One thing about Keyshawn Judkins, and I wasn't lying, he's probably one of the most hardest hitting running backs in college football, right? In
He
my opinion.
reminds me of he reminds me of Pacheco in Kansas City. Like he looks to hurt people. He looks to put the contact on a defender. He doesn't wait for it to
Yeah.
come to him.
He's
He's a
one of the
very,
most
very,
physical
very
running backs.
physical.
He's bigger than Pachenko, though. In my opinion, he's a
Yeah.
bigger version of that. So you're
Oh,
definitely right.
I'm not a Pacheco fan, but he just runs the same. They run angry,
Yeah, they run
super
angry.
angry. So
Yeah. And while Trevion Henderson is more of your finesse kind of super speed kind of guy, right? But both to their own right are physical at different aspects. He's a physical runner, whereas if you actually watch tape on Trevion, he's a physical pass for blocking as part of the O-line help as well. So he'll protect your quarterback. But so at that point, it's 21-14. I'm like, oh wow, who would have thought? But I knew it was too short. It was too good to be true. Here comes Texas driving down. It was like 2 plays later. You're already in the red zone. It was something ridiculous.
That was such a great drive, bro.
It's so great. And you guys, it's, I want to say it was 4th and like 5. You guys still didn't get the touchdown, but here comes the flag. Up halfway to the goal. Halfway to the goal. Oh, next play. Oh, here's another flag halfway to the goal. You guys were at the half-yard line. I want to say you were on the half-yard line, right? It was first and inches. What happens? You guys decide to toss the ball, right?
Hey, hang on. Hey, we got stonewalled on first down. It was a run up the middle, and your defensive line came to play. And then it was I believe it was and then it was the toss play to the left, where my dad even brought it up, like and Bullet Bob, for those of you that are the OGs. But well, I don't know why we called it toss left, because everybody was on the left. Why didn't you go toss right? Like, and that's on yours for not changing the play. But yeah, dude, that play was absolutely a ridiculous call, and then we got destroyed. And then you know what happened on the next play. So
yeah, well, to get to it, Quinn Ewers swings out to the left, and to get out of the pocket, and the pressure's on. And Jack Sawyer, which I mentioned before, once he locks target on you, there's hardly any way getting away from him. Even if you run up the field, at some point, he's going to be the last one tackling you, right? He's going to be the one that gets you, right? Strip sack, and then runs it to the house like 60 some yards or whatever it was, like 80 yards or something. And he even said that he just kept running, but he was gonna pass out during the run. He says that's what he says, right?
Yeah.
And that was all she wrote. After that, it was the end of the game. There was no coming back from that, right?
No, hell no. I knew it was over at that point.
Why do I say these teams are so similar? The running backs. You guys have 2 really good running backs that can take it to the house at any point. Ohio State does. You guys have very good receivers. Golden Tate, or not Golden Tate. What am I saying? Golden, I think his name, Patrick Golden. Him, he's really good. He had a weird injury. It was weird. They couldn't get him on the field really early in the game. He missed almost the whole entire game until like the 4th quarter. I think he finally came, right? That was surprising. There was just as much as Ohio State shot themselves in the foot, Texas shot themselves in the foot.
Oh, yeah.
That's really what I was getting at. I mentioned, I started off the show last week when we were doing the preview show, that it's Texas versus Texas or Texas versus the Longhorns. Well, no. It's Ohio State versus Ohio State. We weren't kidding. Both teams shot
Yeah.
themselves in the foot for different reasons at different points in the game. And that alone is what really cost Texas the game, I feel. Otherwise, I
Yeah.
think you guys had it.
Oh, I think it was right. I think we were about to. I really do think that we were about to steal the game if they had gotten that touchdown to make it 21-21, or even if it was 21-20. I felt like we were probably going to go for two. But I think that it was just we had to because I think Ohio State was. But okay, but I do want to say this. I had mentioned in the preview that Mr.
Mhm.
Jade Barron could really up his draft stock in this game. And
Mhm.
I don't know what the totals were, but boy, did he do a number on Mr. Jeremiah Smith.
Okay, thank you. Let's actually bring that up, right? Is that concern that they didn't get the ball to Jeremiah Smith? His first pass, he did get a pass for like 3 yards, right? And there was certain pictures going around. I know some people say that he wasn't being covered, like triple teamed, but there was certain looks that he was getting that it did definitely look like there was 3 people on him. In fact, the one time that did go to him down the field, what happened? It looked like he had 3 or 4 people in front of him, and they end up intercepting the ball. You guys end up intercepting the ball, right? So they had him covered very, very well, right? But
well, they had the underneath guy. They had a safety over the top, and they had Barron on them the entire time. But like you had mentioned, Egbuka and Tate and everybody else decided that they were going to come to play. So it was pick 'em for the rest of the receivers.
That's the beauty of Ohio State having all these weapons. I honestly feel you guys have a lot of weapons too. You just had, Golden was out. Isaiah Bond, I don't know what was going on with him. You're right. There is something definitely wrong with him. I don't get it.
Man, all season, dude. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, like you couldn't hold on to. There was a couple of catches that I swear he had. It's in his hand. It's done. He drops the ball. I don't get it.
Yep.
For my benefit, just saying for my benefit.
Of course.
But I will say, if you guys got that touchdown, you probably were going to run away with the game. And it wasn't per se because, we don't have like a team that can compete. At that time, Ohio State's offense was getting shut down. There wasn't very much they could do.
The defense came to play, bro.
Yeah.
Colin Simmons, I told you about him.
Our defense was keeping us in the game at times. That's kind of,
yep.
We had some injuries too happen. JTT went out for a hot minute, but he toughed it out and came back in the game much earlier. There was one other piece of information in the press conference that they just had with what's his name? Knowles, right? The Ohio State defensive coordinator. He actually said that they used a coverage in that one play where Quinn Ewers was sack stripped. They used a special type of coverage scheme that they had not used all season long during that play. That was really interesting. I guess if you're going to bring something out, why not do something different that no one's seen
Go
before,
for broke,
right? So that was really they took a risk and it paid off. I am disappointed we didn't get to see too much or a lot of Arch Manning though. That was, I think, could have been more of a key for you guys in certain situations. I don't know why he didn't bring him out more.
It's Sark's loyalty. Ewers earned it. Ewers came home. It was a fairy tale for him. It was literally a dream come true for him. To be playing Ohio State on top of it. I get it, but I come from you got to win the game. There's too many examples of the starter getting benched because the backup brings a little something different to the table. And man, until that run by Ewers, he was struggling. He just wasn't doing anything right. And then they did use Arch in that one play, and it was a brilliant play call. Like it was a great designed run and everything. But it was definitely a little shocking that we didn't see more of Arch.
Yeah, it was. And let's look at the stats for a minute. And this is very interesting. I talked about parity and how equal these teams are. Do you know how many yards separate both of these teams? 29 yards.
For the
That's all that
Oh wow.
separates both of these teams. Both quarterbacks were almost the same. Will Howard had 289 yards versus Quinn Ewers passing was 283 yards. Right.
Oh
The only
wow.
difference is that Quinn Ewers threw one more touchdown than Will Howard. It was 2 touchdowns versus 1. Rushing, Ohio State had the big 75-yard run, so that's really where most of it came from. You had 81 yards rushing versus Texas, who had 58. So that's really where it really hurt you guys, in my opinion. You guys did not open up the run that like I thought you would. But that also
Yep.
could say that the defense really held their own against. They
Yep.
stopped the run no matter what. But total
Yep.
yards in total, it's 370 yards for Ohio State versus 341 yards for Texas. That is like
Yep.
almost the same. It is nuts. But it was interesting. Carnell Tate was the leading receiver. I called that. I told you he was going to show up. 9 targets,
Yep.
7 receptions, 87 yards. Right. Trevion Henderson had the big pass, the dump off, and ran it for 75 yards for a touchdown. And then Ibuka, who had 7 targets, 5 catches for 51 yards, he showed up in the
I
right
felt
moment.
like Dude, I felt like he caught way more balls, bro. Like I literally like I felt like he was on the screen every single time y'all had the ball. It was crazy.
Here's something crazy. G. Scott, right? I like this tight end, right? He went 5 for 5, 30 yards, 100% catching, right? I know 30
Yep.
yards doesn't sound a lot, but he got all the
But they were
chunk
big
yards
catches.
that
Yep.
he needed to get. It was important moments when you needed that first down or that 5 yards or whatever that he needed. And he was the lead guy
Yep.
that got the additional yards to get him so close for Will Howard to go for it on 4th down.
Yep. Yep.
So,
No, it was a good
um,
game, man. I was yeah, I don't get me wrong, I wasn't happy with the result, but I was happy with the result. We came to play. Um It was, the way Ohio State had been running through, um, Tennessee and Oregon like they did. um, I even told you it was either gonna be a blowout or it was gonna be a close game, and it ended up being a close game. I mean, I know the scores shows that it was a 14-point victory, but really it wasn't that far apart. It was basically one possession, that separated the game, and it was a good showing for Texas. Um, and, you know, I come from the school of, the team that beats us, I'll be rooting for them to win so that we lost to the champs. So it's going to be I'm really excited about the next game, Ohio State and Notre Dame. It's going to be fun. I personally think Ohio State's going to run away with it. I don't think Notre Dame's going to be ready for what Ohio State's about to do. So Ohio State smells blood, and they are they're uh, they're built for this. I'll say that.
definitely. Let's actually talk about that game real quick. And before we do, I just want to bring up something you brought. You talked about all the Texas players leaving and stuff, even some that were kind of surprising. Ohio State potentially has they might lose 18 players to the NFL draft, right? 18
Yeah, it's
players
nuts.
get drafted from Ohio State this season, mostly on the defensive side, right? And then you got some of the offensive side. Both running backs could go. Keyshawn Judkins, we don't know if he's leaving or not. I don't think he is. I'm sorry. I don't think he's staying. I think he's going to leave. That's my personal belief, but there's a chance he could stay, right?
Is he a freshman though?
No, Keyshawn Judkins. He's not a freshman. I want to say he's a junior right now. Hold on one second. Let me
Oh,
look that
okay.
up.
I know Travion Henderson is I mean, he's my favorite back in the draft.
Mhm.
So I expect him to be drafted um high second round. But I thought Junkin was a freshman. I could but you know Jose better than I do, obviously.
No, he's not a freshman. Let me tell you what he is. One second. He's a junior, so he's
Okay.
definitely
Well,
eligible.
he's probably gone too. Yep.
Yeah, he's definitely eligible. Um, but Ohio State is going to lose Amika Ibuka, who's one of my favorite
Mhm.
receivers in this draft. I honestly think he has the ability to put out like his comp, in my opinion, is Amon St. Brown, for example. And I think he can do
Okay.
all the things that he does for the Lions. Amika Ibuka can do just as much for another team. Maybe for us, we need another receiver. So who knows? Who knows what we'll do in our draft.
Hey,
Um,
and for those of you that don't know, when we say us, we are diehard Dolphins fans, but we are tired of the Dolphins, so we are doing college.
and I was going to do college no matter what, even if they were
Yeah,
winning.
yeah, yeah.
But still, yeah. The one guy that I don't know that is the maybe that could leave, Sonny Styles. I kind of felt Sonny Styles had more of a quiet year, and I think he might stay another year. But if he leaves, it'll be 18 some players. The offensive line, you got 3 or 4 guys there that are going to go. You got several receivers that are leaving. The defense, pretty much the whole defensive line. There's so many defenders. The defense, the whole back. There's like 3 or 4 corners that are gone. But there's a lot
It's gonna
coming
be
in.
fun next year.
Say that again.
It's gonna be fun next year for both of our teams.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting. And if you know anything about what Ohio State's been doing, they continuously pre-build. I call it pre-building for the following year. Even before, like, even outside of the commits that they have coming in, they're building up and stacking for the future, and they continuously do that. What the big question mark is, what are they going to do at quarterback? There's a guy there, Sands, that I really like. I want to see what he does. We also have a 5-star commit coming in at quarterback, St. Clair, I think his name is. I want to see what happens with them. Will they bring somebody? Like you said, Quinn Ewers was rumored that he might be interested. A lot of people thought that could happen. There was also connections with Carson Beck, which I found out something interesting about Carson Beck. I found out that Carson Beck was asked to stay at Georgia. They didn't want him to go. So the fact that
Yes.
he picked Miami over Ohio State, I personally think it was for his girlfriend. I think that's what it, hands down, that's why he left, to be honest.
Hey, young kids, we'll just say that.
Not saying that's a bad reason, but his girlfriend, I believe, plays basketball there. She's in the basketball program. So it makes sense. He wants to be close to her. He wanted, a fresh start, some new scenery. Why not go somewhere where there's warm weather? You don't have to worry about the cold.
Yeah,
It's
for
fun. You
sure.
can build your brand and everything. I mean, look at this guy.
Well,
The
and
guy
it
was in Georgia, playing for Georgia. And you know what his car is, right? The guy
nuh-uh.
drives a $300,000 Ferrari.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
He
that's
fits
his
the mold of an
car.
NFL guy, huh?
So obviously he wanted warmer weather so he doesn't get salt or something on his car. I'm
That's
a little bit
funny.
joking there. I'm
That's
being a
funny.
little bit, joking, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Notre Dame Ohio State game. Notre Dame was crazy. They played Penn State. I'm very, very surprised. That game was very, very close. It came down to some interceptions, very similar to our game. But they've lost, they've had turnover up and down their offensive line. And I don't know if their offensive line is healthy enough to go after the defensive line. I'm sorry, to keep up with the defensive line that Ohio State has. I don't know if
I'll be
they're going to
honest
be
with you, dude. I,
good.
I'll be honest with you. Notre Dame did a good job getting here. Give them all the credit in the world. But dude, I think it's gonna be a boring ass. Excuse my language, but it's gonna be a boring college football championship game. Other than if you're an Ohio State fan, because I think Ohio State's about to just wreck shop. I could be overlooking Notre Dame. I don't know. Maybe. I do like the coach. I like Julian Love, the running back. The quarterback. I actually think their backup quarterback's better than their starter. As far as throwing the ball, but dude, Ohio State. I mean, I witnessed it. I watched it against Tennessee. I watched it against Oregon. I watched it against Texas. They are the cream of the crop in this college football playoff, and I
Mhm.
just don't think Notre Dame has a chance, man. And it's not because you're my co-host. If I was a betting man, I'd bet Ohio State to cover the spread plus some, because yeah, I just don't like you said, the injuries Notre Dame has. I think Sawyer is going to have himself a monster game. Uh, I think Jeremiah Smith's going to make up for that game against Texas. I think Travion Henderson is going to put a stamp on the draft. I think Judkins is ready to roll over people. I think Ibuka could move up the draft boards in a major way this game. Then I just don't see. I mean, Notre Dame. I think they had was it one catch by their wide receivers in that game, and it was that really long one or something like that. It's pretty absurd, or maybe that was Penn State. But either way, Notre Dame they don't have a single receiver that I'm like, oh wow, he's going to do something. They don't have a tight end that I'm really worried about. The only thing they do is run the ball well, and Ohio State don't let you run the ball. So I really don't expect it to be much of a game. I expected Ohio State to just run away with it. Maybe I could see anywhere from like 35-14, even 42-14. That was my initial gut instinct. So I don't know, but I'll watch it, and so we can talk about it next Tuesday.
Yeah, I agree with you. It'll be very interesting. This is where I'm at with it. I do think Ohio State wins this game, but I think there are certain factors in this game that we're not really looking at that I think that could play a big storyline in the game. Number one, Notre Dame's defense. Notre Dame's defense is actually pretty decent, right? They have, in my opinion, their secondary outside of the safety position, but we're just talking corner for corner. Their corners are a little bit better than ours, right? So I kind of give them that. But everywhere else on the defense, I think though they have a very good defense, they have a very passionate defensive front and stuff like that, and they're probably gonna come the same thought as I did when we tried to beat you. Stop the run, stop the run, stop the run. That's what they're gonna do, and let the corners do what they do best. I don't know if it's going to be enough. I don't know if Ohio State just has too many weapons. That's the thing.
Oh yeah,
we have not just one running back. Like Penn State had Singleton. They have another guy too. I can't think of his name, but Singleton's their main running back, right? We got two of them. We have running back 1 and running back 1B, right?
Well, you've got Thunder and Lightning too. Judkins going to pound them, and Henderson's going to.
Yeah, that's 100% what we got. We have number one wide receivers all over the place. We talk about like, oh, he's the number 2 receiver here. You go to another team, that kid's a number 1 receiver there. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Yep. We have so many weapons, it's hard to keep accountable for everybody. I don't like their starting quarterback, Leonard. I don't think he's the passer.
Wow, he's terrible.
I don't know why they didn't play the other guy the whole game. I would have played the other guy. The other guy is much better.
Dude, he came in and lit it up, bro. He had him moving. And then they brought Riley Leonard back, and I was like, why?
And see, that is what scares me about this game. And that's what might be something that Notre Dame could build on to slow us down.
No,
you're telling me no
because your little center fielder, he's gonna eat that freshman alive, bro.
They're humble here. I'm trying to be humble.
Yeah,
I don't want
you can be humble as you want. I'm telling you, Ohio State's about to, man. It's just it's not going to be as bad as TCU versus Georgia, but it's going to be bad. Like it's in Ohio State. It's about damn time. Ever since Urban Meyer left, they've been trying.
Yeah, I mean, I just look at it this way. You saw what happened versus that team up north in my team. I'm trying to be humble about it. Everybody and their mother thought that, who was going to win that game and beat the heck out of them, right? But it didn't happen.
I'll eat crow if Notre Dame makes it a game, and I'll be the first one to do it. Like I just don't see it.
So I'm just the reason I think it'll be a game is, like I told you before, Notre Dame is Ohio State in the Big Ten stepbrother, right? I will say it's funny. I've been saying this, and I've heard it all over mainstream media now too. That when you go to Notre Dame or you go to Ohio State or you go to Penn State, places like that, you're more than likely from Ohio or that vicinity at some point. So that's why they call Notre Dame the Big Ten stepbrother because they tend to play the same teams, they recruit the same kids, and so on. So I'm just trying to keep it real that, let's take care of business before we talk all the smack. Let's play the first
Mad
half.
respect, dude. Mad respect. Keep it
So,
professional, bro. Keep it level. I get it. Yeah, mad respect to you, but I
um,
don't I don't care.
yeah, I got people on my Twitter line going, yeah, after we win the Natty, I was like, can we just win the Natty first? Let's just win the Natty first, then talk about what we're going to do next. Okay. You know, I have
Yeah,
this flashbacks from playing the team up north in November, and I don't want to relive that. Okay. I don't want to relive
fair,
that whatsoever. Um,
fair, very
I
fair.
want Ryan Day to take care of business. And I don't know if you saw him before and in the halftime speech and stuff, screaming his head off. I want him to have that same passion going into this game. Don't feel comfortable. I want you to feel uncomfortable the entire game. You okay?
Yeah, except my dog's starting to have a fit, so I just bounced it
Uh,
off the
no
house.
worries. No worries.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, I do expect this game to be won in the trenches. I do think that Ohio State does win. Um, I'm not going to necessarily. I'll make a prediction that they win, but I'm not going to give you the score. I'll say it's going to be one of
No, no, no.
two things.
That's not how. No, no, no. That's not how we roll. That's not how we roll. I told you, and I'll go with my gut. 42-14. You better give me a prediction.
31-17 Ohio State.
That's the same damn score you said for Texas and Ohio State.
And look at what the
No, no,
score
no,
was.
no. Sorry,
28 to
sorry. No,
14.
no,
I wasn't
sorry.
quite off.
No, yeah, no, sorry. You said it was going to be 31-17 Notre Dame over Penn State. So now you're taking 31-17 Ohio State over Notre Dame, which I'm cool with. I like the prediction. It's a 14-point spread, which I think is going to be much more than that. But I'm proud of you, bro. Good job. Way to man up. Give me a prediction.
I gave you a prediction. That's what I'm going to go with. Ohio State's winning no matter what. It doesn't matter if it's by 1 point
Yep.
or 3 points or 10 points. Ohio State's winning this. I just think overall they have the more dominant team. Their defense is on a high. Their defensive front, their linebackers, and their safety position overall were better. Their corners are a little bit better. The other thing is we talked about Jeremiah Smith. He didn't show up in the Texas game. I believe
He's
he's
not
going to
having
show
two
up.
bad games.
He's not having back-to-back bad games. In
No.
fact, Notre
Nope.
Dame, more so than any other team, loves to run man. They run man-to-man more so,
Oh.
while Texas is
Hey,
more of an
Oregon.
all-zone type of team.
Oregon tried man against Jeremiah Smith, and you saw what happened. So good luck, Notre Dame. It's gonna
Yeah.
be a it's gonna be a matchup to watch. That's for I think Jeremiah Smith's gonna him and Henderson, I think, are gonna be two stars in that game.
Yeah, so I think so too. I think it's gonna. I'll go ahead and say this. I think this could be a game that Will Howard can really show the talent that I know he has. That a lot of people think that he's overrated on, and I think that the NFL Will Howard might show up in this game. That's
fair.
he's starting to do things and talk in a way that real professionals do, right?
I mean,
And
every now and then you get a Bo Nix, so I could see him coming out of nowhere to be a decent quarterback.
I know, people laugh at that because Bo Nix comp was Tua, to be honest. That's what the actual comp was.
Oh, dude, he's way better than Tua, but that's just
He's
my
way
personal
better than
opinion.
Tua.
He's
But
more of a Josh Allen than anything.
I think Will Howard, I'm not going to say could be as good as Josh Allen. I'm not saying that at all, right?
You know what my
But
comp is? You want to know what my comp is to Will Howard is?
good.
Ben Roethlisberger. That's who I can see Will Howard.
He does kind of look
pretty much
stocky
being like.
like him, at a point. You're right. Bill Roethlisberger could be a guy. I want to say, like, I'm trying to think back who he kind of reminds me of. It's weird if you listen to the way he talks and just actually listen, like some of the more recent press conferences. He almost sounds like Tom Brady when he talks. That's how professional he is. The way he talks about the game, his voice reflection, it's weird. His game isn't the same. Don't get me wrong. Nobody's as good as the GOAT when they're coming out of college. Don't get me wrong. But the way he talks, I just kind of think that we're under appreciating this guy, and he's gonna blow it up, at the next
So
level. That's what I think.
so
Go
I
ahead.
got a I got a question. I got a question that's meant for our draft show. It's not going to be next week, but it's going to be week after, or 2 weeks after that. I want to know if this is going to be the worst quarterback class we've ever seen. So I just want you to stew on that one for a little bit.
First, it'll be the worst quarterback class that we've ever seen that was drafted in the first round.
Dude, I think it's going to be terrible. I think it's going to be terrible all the way through, bro.
Yeah, but I think that you might get guys like Will Howard, for example. Like I said, you listen to what I've said on other shows and in the Twitter spaces. I've been calling Will Howard trash. I didn't like Will Howard. I still am not like the biggest fan. But in the playoffs, Will Howard, when it mattered the most, Will Howard, he has performed, right?
That's
And
fair.
that's why I'm high on him, because
Let's
I
say
don't care what you did during the regular season, because that doesn't matter. It's playoff time, and playoff Will Howard makes sense.
well, let's save our breakdown for the draft preview. That's a good tease. Because dude, I'm stoked. I got some guys getting dropped in my lap that I can't wait to watch film on, and just to sit for hours on hours with you watching guy after guy after guy is going to be a blast.
Yeah, we should do our own mock draft too. We should do that. I think that will be good too.
Definitely. First round, at least. Maybe we could do 2 rounds. It just depends because it's going to be tough. It'll be my first one to put together. But I'm totally down to do it.
Since I have to draft for other teams, that's kind of what I'm excited about. Draft for your own team. You already know what you would do if you're the GM, and it's just like the same thing over 100%. And over again. But now I'm sitting there like, if I'm the Giants, what do I do if I don't have one of these quarterbacks? You know what I mean? So now you got to think about it.
For
right?
sure.
But anyway, long story short, that's my prediction. I think Ohio State wins. I think the way the team is built, they're too much for Notre Dame.
Agreed.
I am trying to give Notre Dame some credit because I think that they have a hell of a coach that can scheme around things. I don't
think he's gone.
Him. Huh?
You think he leaves? I think he's going to have some pro teams come a calling.
I don't think he leaves.
It's tough.
I know he has pro teams already calling. The Bears have already called. They're like the most interested from what I understand, but I don't think he leaves. When you are head coach of programs, and we're talking about blue blood elite programs, historical programs, such as Ohio State with Ryan Day, right? Such as Notre Dame. Those are probably the most 2 prestigious, historically known college football teams ever, all time, right? You don't leave those programs. You stay until you've been told your job is done, right?
That's fair.
And I think he's too loyal to his players and he has too much going on right now building that program that I don't think he leaves. Same reason why I don't think Ryan Day will leave. Urban Meyer said this. Ryan Day said this. Having an Ohio State job is a dream job, right?
Yeah.
The Irish program is a dream job for a lot of people. But the expectations are so high at the same time. So if you're succeeding and he's in a natty after 3 years, that's pretty good, in my opinion. And Ryan Day, like you said, he's like 70-10. It's something ridiculous.
Yeah,
like
these stupid numbers.
It's like, who would fire this guy and he has that record? I would kill to have this guy as a Miami Dolphin head coach, and that's his record, right? I would kill for it. You would too. I know you would.
Yeah, 100%.
So for me, I don't think they leave. But I believe in Coach Antonio Freeman. I think Freeman is going to scheme up some stuff defensively and give the Ohio State looks that they haven't seen, and that's how they're going to try to win a leg on us. But offensively, I think the defense is too much for them, and that's why Ohio State wins. It could be closer than what I said, but I'm just going as a fan. I'm going to go 31-17 still.
42-14. 42-14.
32-14. That's
no.
Okay.
42.
So you're saying it's blowout. Okay. All right,
Oh,
you
it's
got
not
to go
even
off.
close.
What else to say about this game? I had some numbers for you. You ready for this?
Sure.
We talked about college football and the format, right? We talked about the format for the college football playoff. So far, I love the format, more games, but more at stake at certain times when it comes to the playoffs. And I think the ratings and the viewership has proven that. Do you know Ohio? I want to say it's in all three games that Ohio State played in, and I want to say the Notre Dame versus Penn State game, right? Those games alone averaged 18.5 million people each one of those games,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
And I want to say it was the Cotton Bowl was the most watched televised bowl game ever of all time.
Wow.
Over 20 some million people watched it, right?
Wow. Wow.
So this format works. My
It's
question
working. Yep.
is that we already know the seating is wrong. The seating needs to be changed, and maybe the where certain teams are placed
See,
on.
but hang on. But 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 the beauty of it is you have a 7 and an 8 seed in the championship. I think that's gorgeous. I think that shows that's the parity we were talking about. And maybe they were underseeded or not. I don't care. The fact that you had all top 6 seeds gone.
Mhm.
I think that's awesome. So,
But here is where I think it could be better. And Joe Klatt, I'm sure you've watched his show before. Joe
I
Klatt
know who
show.
he is. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. He put
Yep.
out his whole how he would fix the college football playoff. He wants to expand it from a 12-team playoff to a 14-team playoff, which makes sense based on
Oh,
what we do right now in the NFL. He thinks there should be only 2 teams with a bye, which I kind of agree with because you think about it, I don't think all 4 of those teams deserve to have the bye. I'm just being honest.
agreed.
You
Oh,
looked
it
at
was bad for him.
yeah, I mean you look at teams that you look at Ohio State. Ohio State has played how many top 5 teams? Like 6 or 7 in this season, right? And they've won those games. They've beaten 7. I want to say it's 6 to 7 top 5 teams. That's what I call a qualifying match. They should have already qualified to be in the playoffs based on that alone, right? They didn't play their championship game, right? Because they lost versus
Mhm.
Michigan. Okay, it's fine. So then you should have a qualifying match. And when you have ranked opponents like that, I think it's good. I think it's good for the sport. I think it's good to show, what you could bring to the table. And I don't think there should be any more selection committee anymore, right? I think
Okay.
you qualify based on the ranked opponents you won. And if you won your Big Ten championship or was there, at least played in a game, right? I think those should be your qualifiers. And I that's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for them to remove the selection committee out of it. And I kind of agree with those aspects. But does that continue to hurt the other bowl games that we play? I think they need to make bowl games matter somehow, right? For teams like Miami,
Yeah,
who
it's
their
tough.
starting quarterback
It's
decide to sit in the second half. I hate that. I hate that.
yeah.
I want to see those teams um play and actually matter, like have some kind of benefit to them. Maybe they bring more money to their school or something. Have something that, that matters.
Maybe an NIL incentive, something that the player giving the players a reason to play. Um, that would be that. I mean,
It
you'd
should
have a
be.
lot
Yeah,
more players playing.
you play the full game, you get another $200,000 or
Yep,
something. I'm just
yep,
using that as an
something like that.
example. Um,
Yep.
there is one other thing he said that I completely agree with because I think it would be the perfect opening for college football. I would rather have the Army Navy game, and I'm pretty sure it was Joe Klatt that said this. I would rather have the Army Navy game be the very first game played in the college football season. to open the season up.
Oh yeah,
Um,
for sure.
I think I don't like it, the fact that it's in that off week where no one's really paying
Mhm.
attention to football. I don't think it gets the deserve audience that it really deserves.
Yep.
Um, I will say, watching the Army Navy game on TV, the atmosphere was so explosive and electric, bro. I would have loved to have that be the first kickoff game, and I think it makes sense. Um, but and you could also use that week that they have the Army Navy game for some of these additional playoff games. You know what I mean? You could
Yeah.
use that week to
Yep.
fill in. So
Yep.
that being these qualifying games, as we've called it, you know. So that being said, yeah, that's where I think we're at with the college football playoff. The Natty, like I said, both think Ohio State's going to win it. What are your final thoughts, man? What else you got? Anything else?
Man, I'm gonna be honest. I'm just super excited about the draft preview. I just love watching the college football tape. Love watching the players before they get drafted. And just being able to when somebody says who's this guy, being able to know who they're talking about and really having an idea of who it is and how he can help the team he goes to. But I'm like stoked. That's part of the reason I love this show already is just because we are going to watch film and we are going to digest some of these guys that be it little known schools, little known guys at big schools, whatever it may be. But yeah, dude, it's a pleasure, dude. I'm here. My toes are pretty much frozen. My ears are warm. My hair, I think, is frozen too. So it's been a good show, bro.
Yeah, it's definitely been a great show. Make sure everyone you hit like and subscribe, turn on the notification bell. Appreciate you all. We are going to have some special guests. I haven't got a chance to talk to Mike about it, but I already have some special guests that I've planned and I've reached out to. I'm waiting to hear back that are going to show up and we can talk some good college football and get some insight of people that are in the program, so to speak. So we'll definitely be talking about it. Go ahead.
I do want to shout out my buddy Ben. Red Dirt Williams, I think is his handle. He's gonna be watching pretty much every one of these shows, so I just want to give him a shout out. Thanks for the loyal viewership, buddy.
I'm gonna shout out somebody too, Virgil. If you're watching this show, man, you put me through through a hoop the other day. We were talking college football, and I didn't know he was really into college football. Guy I work with, and bro, he was spitting game with me left and right, and I was just like, man, I got to get you on this show, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So shout out to Virgil. But anyway, till next time, make sure you hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you at the next episode.